According to the United Nations Programme on HIV/AIDS, Nigeria has the second largest HIV epidemic in the world, with 1.9 million people living with the virus. The program further states that low levels of access to antiretroviral treatment remains an issue for people living with HIV. Thus, the report of the COVID-19 outbreak indicates that people with compromised immune systems are more likely to become seriously ill with the virus. This led some to suggest that people living with HIV might be more susceptible. My guest is from the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA. Welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Ibrahim Adra. The Federal Capital Territory Administration is entering the second phase of the distribution of palliatives for residents of the nation's capital. In the first phase, at least 600,000 households benefited from the exercise across the 6 area councils. This week on FCT in Focus, we give you details of the second phase of the exercise.
It's the third phase of the palliative distribution exercise for the most vulnerable in the nation's capital. The Minister of State for the FCT, Dr. Ramatu Aliyu, is flanked by the chairman of the 6 area councils ahead of the movement of the trucks to their respective areas. Each of the area councils are getting 2 trucks of food items and condiments each. The FCT minister emphasized the need for transparency, promising that there will be no diversion in the distribution.
We are here to hand over to the 6 area council chairmen. This is symbolic. We do have 6 trucks at the stores, which I am sure, and I'm mandating the civil society organization to leave no stone unturned. But as you all know, we do not own the trucks. So they are holding us to ransom for those ones. That part of the arrangement is not for them to come into Abuja and then to proceed to Abaji and, far beyond. So the ones going this way are here. We have 6 area councils and 2 trucks are going to each area council with 3,000 bags of rice and 3,000 bags of condiment. We, Ab initio, wanted to at least say, okay, the entire 25,000 bags of condiment and 25,000 bags of rice be taken at the same time. But as we all know, each truck takes a maximum of 600 bags or 6,000 bags of the 10 kg bags. Definitely by arithmetic, we'll be needing over 300 trucks. 162 for the condiment and 162 for the rice. So in loading one after the other, we could just take 2 hours. Before you load 10, that is 20 hours. For our men to be able to load these 12 trucks, you should know that they were awake for 24 hours of the night. Can we please appreciate them? So it is much more than meet the eye. It is very easy. You look at it and say, why didn't they take it to this place? If wishes were horses, we would have loved. So we would have loved for these palliatives, the entire of it to even flood the city so that everybody will be happy.
Just like the first phase, each of the area councils will get 25,000 bags of condiments and 25,000 bags of rice. Again, the monitoring team, which is made up of representatives from civil society organizations and religious bodies, will be playing an active role in the exercise.
I want to publicly say it here that, and I hope the area council chairmen have heard, and with the fear of God, this time around, they are going to do that which has been agreed to be done. The presence of civil society here is not to tarnish anybody's image, but we represent the people. We are the voice of the people and the voiceless in the society. And so, please, I want to beg you people, these consignments, they are for everybody. They are not for politicians alone. They are not for religious people alone. They are not for indigenous alone. They are for every vulnerable persons living in the FCT. And I am sure with our observations and with what people went through the last time, it will not happen again this time around.
Meanwhile, the FCT administration did not relent in its efforts to enforce the protocol of the eased lockdown after the first phase was extended by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. The lockdown was eased mostly to ensure food security and on the premise that no country can survive a total lockdown without the requisite palliatives for the citizens. The eased lockdown came with protocols and guidelines, which several residents violated. For instance, these worshippers were arrested for disregarding the ban on gathering of any sort. There are also arrests for breaking the curfew and the ban on interstate travel. Earlier, the minister of the FCT, Malam Muhammad Musa, had a meeting with representatives of the FCT Christian and Muslim communities, led by the FCT Christian Association of Nigeria and the FCT League of Imams Initiative. The meeting was called at the request of the religious leaders, who wished for the reopening of places of worship in the nation's capital. But the minister has other plans.
The meeting appreciated all the good work and efforts being done, particularly by our health workers in the territory, by our security officers in the territory, as well as all other persons involved directly or indirectly. The meeting also acknowledged that since the beginning of the COVID-19 in Nigeria in general and in FCT in particular, all leaders and public officers are concerned with one fundamental fact, that is to save the lives of Nigerians. This had been the main driving force, and even after 9 weeks of the pandemic, it has not changed. And we also agreed that whatever decision is being taken has to be guided by medical experts. So the conclusion of the meeting is that based on the guidance of the medical experts and consultation with highest authority, the Presidential Task Force gave a decision and communication on the fact that all the measures approved 2 weeks ago be extended for another period of time to enable organizations, individuals, and all of us plan for a gradual opening up of the society, ensuring that all the needed health steps are undertaken. And that's what we have agreed. So leaders of the religious organizations have agreed to work towards eventual opening up at a time to be determined by the Presidential Task Force based on medical advice. But in the interim, a team has been constituted consisting of representatives of the religious organizations and their leadership, as well as the FCT administration. This team will gradually look at what the modalities of operating places of worship is going to be when COVID-19 lockdown of the FCT is released or removed.
Nevertheless, a team consisting of representatives of the religious organizations and the leadership of the FCT has been set up to look at the modalities and protocols of operating places of worship whenever the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 lifts such a ban. Some of the protocols that may be coming into effect when that happens includes the compulsory use of face masks, compulsory hand washing,